Good.
Yeah, good.
Good morning, all. I'd like to welcome everybody to the September 17th, 2024 meeting of the Steamship Authority. I've got to, before we start, I'll ask Bob if he would introduce, the VIPs in the room for us.
Right, so for public officials, and I apologize if I miss anyone, we got Mike Burns from the Nantucket Planning, Libby Gibson, the Town Manager, Brooke Moore from the Select Board. We have Christine Todd and Doug Ruskin from the Dukes County Commissioners. And I think I got everyone.
Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you all for coming. I've got a few announcements to read, so sit tight. I'd like to inform everybody that John Driscoll, the authority's communication director, are making an audio and video recording of today's meeting. If there's anybody else making an audio or video recording of today's meeting, please identify yourself by pressing the raise your hand icon on the Zoom dashboard. If you are joining virtually, or if you are joining by phone, please press *9 on your keyboard, and when you are recognized, please state your name for the record. Is there anybody joining for recording today's meeting?
Great. Casey brought to you the Nantucket Current.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room? Right, and I've got one on Devin.
Okay.
Enterprise.
I'm sorry, could you say again? I didn't hear you.
Devin Ankeny, Falmouth Enterprise.
Thank you.
Moving on. Pursuant to Section 20 of the Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021 as amended, Board Member Maura Attorney is participating remotely in today's meeting because her physical attendance today would be unreasonably difficult. Maura is participating in the meeting by Zoom video conference app, and all members will be clearly audible to each other. Are you with us, Maura? Okay. As a result, these members' remote participation in this meeting, any and all votes will be taken by members shall be by roll call vote. And just moving on, a little change in the agenda, and I'd received a phone call from Jim and the folks from Duke County and asking us to delay the meeting a little until they got here. We're gonna, skip right into an executive session, but Jim came over with them. So in any event, we delayed the meeting, for them, but we're going to move right into executive session. We did that because we thought we could save some time, but in any event, it's not going to save some time, but we're going to continue into executive session. And it is the executive session. I'd like to just read this statement. I'd like to entertain a motion to go in executive session to discuss, review the authority's strategy with respect to the contract negotiation with non-union employees, because a public discussion of these matters may be detrimental effect on the authority's negotiating and bargaining position. These matters include the authority's employment contract with General Manager Robert Davis. Public disclosure of any more information with respect to these matters would compromise the purposes for which the executive session is being called. After the conclusion of the executive session, we will reconvene in public. So may I have a motion here to go into executive session?
So moved.
It's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? It'll be a roll call vote. Rob?
Randy, aye.
Malcolm, aye.
John's aye.
Jeffrey, aye.
Okay, then it's moved. So we're going to adjourn into executive session. You can sit comfortably here. And we'll be back and it will come back into an open meeting. And just so you'll know, there's more to come up on the executive session, but we'll hold that to the end of the meeting. And we have union negotiations and a couple other things to talk about at that time. But we just wanted to get this over first for convenience. Thank you.
And the Zoom will remain on, so everyone can stay on the Zoom until we come back into public session. Thank you.
Oh, she needed to send her. I did it. Okay, thank you.
Well, you can go ahead. You can go ahead and make the, okay. Okay, folks, we're back in open session. I've got to read a couple of announcements that I read before to get back in here. I'd like to inform everybody that Sean Driscoll, the authority's communication director, and making audio video recording of today's meeting. If there's anyone else making an audio video recording of today's meeting, please identify yourself by pressing the raise your hand icon on the Zoom dashboard if you are joining virtually, or if you're joining by phone, press *9 on your keypad. And when you are recognized, please state your name for the record. Got one over here.
Jason, you still recording?
Yes.
Okay. And one up here.
Okay.
Devin, all right, one more, Mr. Jones.
Devin,
I'd like to read one other statement. It's pursuant to section 20 of chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021 as amended. Board member Maura Attorney is participating remotely in today's meeting because her physical attendance today would be unreasonably difficult. Board member Maura Attorney is participating in the meeting by Zoom video conference app, and all members will be clearly audible to each other. As a result, these members' remote participation in this meeting, any and all votes taken by members today shall be roll call vote. Can you hear us okay, Maura?
I can, Bob.
Okay, we hear you fine. Thank you. We had yes, please do.
So good morning. I just have a short statement to read before we move on with the posted agenda. After spending the last 7 years as the general manager of the Steamship Authority, I'm announcing today that I'll be stepping down from my role at the end of October 2025 and transition into an advisory role in support of my successor. This decision has not been easy for me, as serving as the general manager has been an honor in my career. But I feel it's the right time to support the hiring of my successor and provide assistance to that individual as they take the helm of this organization. I spent 38 years at the Steamship Authority, and since becoming general manager, I have the honor to be working with a dedicated team of professionals. Together, we have moved several monumental projects forward. To name just a few of these projects, we have introduced the first safety quality management system for the Steamship Authority. We have purchased or are in the process of converting 3 former offshore supply vessels that will soon be serving the islands. We have overseen the Woods Hole Terminal reconstruction project, including 3 new ferry slips, new terminal, utility building, and administration building. The hard work on these projects and many others will continue during the next year and beyond. I know the Steamship Authority will continue to improve and excel as everyone works together to provide lifeline services to the island. I've got too many people to thank, and I look forward to speaking with them during the course of the next year. So for now, I'll say thank you to the staff, the board and Port Council, and the public for your support, as well as my family for supporting me in the time commitments this position requires. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. As you can tell, folks, this is a very emotional thing. There's a man who's dedicated his entire life to the Steamship Authority, and now he will take on a senior advisory role in the authority. We have a lot of negotiations to do as to how the contract will read. And so that it all comes together. So we won't be taking a vote on his contract or anything. It's just the fact that this establishes a date that he's going to move forward and the authority will be moved forward. So for myself and this board, you know, just have to thank you for your dedication. Thank you, Paul. That's not easy. Okay. We're going to move on with the agenda at this point. I'd like to get a motion to approve the minutes of August 20th to 2024, please.
Also move.
Is moved. Is there a second? Okay, all in favor, roll call, please.
Jeffrey, I.
Jones, aye.
Randy, I.
Tierney, I.
Moore, aye. Okay, that's unanimous. Moving forward, the Port Council report. Are you taking that now? Huh? You what? Oh, yeah. Is Rob here? Hi,
Yes.
Rob.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, thank you, and Bob, on behalf of the Port Council, just very grateful for your service to the Steamship, and I've been on this on the Port Council for 10 years now, and we've worked together that entire time, and I just can't thank you enough. Certainly have enjoyed it, and I still look forward to another better part of a year to be working together. So much appreciated. My report for the meeting of September 10th was another very robust Port Council meeting. We had the usual reports from management on the new ships, on the website, on the new reservation system, on the Woods Hole Terminal project. And we had some generative discussion on those topics. I think with respect to the new ships, there's quite a bit of enthusiasm and anticipation for their arrival. There is some concern about the slippage of the delivery dates, but I think everybody feels that this is a long-term investment and one that will benefit the steamship for a long time to come. So despite the slippage, I think people really look forward to having the vessels and have the sort of the big picture approach to that. With respect to the website, I think the main discussion areas were uncertainty over the delivery date and its connection to the new reservation system. And we have some subject matter experts on the Port Council with respect to IT types of systems, John Cahill from Tisbury and Eric Dowicki from Fairhaven. So they both feel, and this is with respect to the new reservation system, that the system could be delivered in a year or a little less relative to the scope as they understand it, and that there might be merit to considering delaying the website so that it was delivered in conjunction with the new reservation system rather than delivering the website and then have it to change it when the new reservation system comes in. So this was points of discussion, not a hard recommendation by any means. Other than that, I think those were the main points. We went through an agenda that included the changes to the operating schedule, which were noted to be minor and didn't require a vote, the normal business summary, and then the notion of a donation of the model of the island home. And we strongly recommended accepting it and thought it would be great to include a plaque so that it would provide the recognition to the donor and the person who made the model in the first place. Those are my remarks from the Port Council meeting. Any questions?
Any
Thank you.
questions? No questions.
Thank you.
Rod, thank you and the Port Council. I watched your last meeting as I've watched several and you know, you always tear things apart, you know, right down to the bone, and that's what we need. You know, my vote, you know, when it comes to IT and things like that, I just need the expertise that you have and the board brings. So the Port Council is certainly one of the major functions of this whole authority. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, moving on.
I'll pass those remarks on to the rest of the Port Council, but thank you very much.
Moving on to the general manager's report.
Staff just wanted to provide a brief update of the progress of the Aquina and the Barnstable and the Monomoy. So I think Mark A is down in Mobile. John can bring him over and give us the most recent update.
Good morning, everyone, from on location in Mobile for the Aquina Barnstable and Monomoy conversions. Things are quite busy these days with the arrival of the Monomoy and the completion of the Barnstable and Aquina not too far in the follow. Next slide, please. Picture of the Aquina. She's at Quayside right now, just ahead of the Barnstable. Next photo. And this is a new rescue boat davit, which has been installed on the forecastle deck level. Next slide. This is part of a new entrance into the engine room, and we've done this on both of our vessels, which was a safety issue of adding some real estate before we ended up for someone to go over the ledge. As you can see, there's a ledge in the middle of the door, and that's part of the intact damage stability down flooding angle. So we've added some real estate so the person going into that space can land on a solid platform and get out to the ladder into the engine room. Next slide. Just picture of the anchor windlass installed, ready to go. Next slide. So where we are with the Aquina, engine starts is scheduled for the 10th, mechanical accommodations complete on the 11th. We're planning the incline test on the 11th. And based on that is the SSA sea trial and Coast Guard sea trials. Right now, the schedule from the shipyard is for completion of everything by the 31st of October on the present schedule. Okay, let's move on to the Barnstable. Barnstable is right in back of the Aquina, and she's complete. Next slide. This is a picture of the new accommodation areas. It looks beautiful. It looks brand new. So it's ready and complete. Next slide. This is a picture of the new crew accommodations up on the forecastle level. We've got refrigerators, and you can't see the settee in there, the couch, and the remaining that you've seen in previous presentations. Next slide. This is of the new automation system that we have installed on this shows one of the main engines. Next slide. And this is part of a new emergency steering system we put in the steering gear room as a requirement by Coast Guard changes. Next slide. So we're all complete on the Barnstable. We're still waiting the results of the incline stability test. We've been told that we're going to get a provisional letter today that would be for allowing sea trials. And right after the SSA sea trials, we'll be doing the Coast Guard sea trials. This week, we've been doing a lot of testing in anticipation of that day with Coast Guard on design verification test procedures, as well as periodic safety testing procedures. So we're pretty much there, and we're going to hopefully go out and have a good sea trial and then do the Coast Guard finish up and then head north. Okay, on to the next. The The Monomoy came over on the 20th, well, over on the barge on the 20th. Next slide. She is right now, she's on the hard below the crane, and we have commenced the shipyard period there. Next slide. So the schedule for the Monomoy, it was transferred to the dock on the 20th. Clean and gas free is set to complete on the 4th. Mid-body removal on the 29th. New bulwarks and stern on the 8th. They've got all the steel in the yard and they've commenced that construction. Stability test on the 18th with sea trials on the 5th of June. I think they have a pretty good leg up on now that they've got the blueprint of and how to go ahead with an efficient repair period conversion from Monomoy. And next slide. So we have for the 3 projects, we have the contract value is 13.7 million for Aquina, 13.7 for Barnstable, and 17 million for Monomoy. Change orders to date for Aquina, 2.77 million for the Aquina, 3.1 million for the Barnstable. We're expecting between an additional 300,000 and 400,000 change orders and credits. And that's the status of the project, and would take any questions you may have.
Go ahead, Jim.
Thank you, Mark. Can you help me understand, is the incline test and the stability test, are they different tests or are they the same?
They are the same. So the test we did was on the 1st of August, and they have all the data in Washington. We've given them a number of different load cases, including no cargo, full trucks, and full combinations of cargo and passengers and cars. So my understanding, according to our architect, Boris Kurloff, that we should expect a letter within, if it's not the end of this week, and this is his direct communication with the Marine Safety Center in Washington early next week.
You said provisional. Is there any concern that it won't be permanent?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please? I couldn't hear that.
Oops, sorry, thank you. You had said provisional. Is there any concern that this wouldn't be a permanent authority?
No, the provisional we've given them a load case for us to go do our sea trials with ballast in particular locations and a 10-foot draft. So what they do is they took that specific load case and put it through evaluation, and it's been approved by the Coast Guard Marine Safety Center in Washington, and that will be given to us in a letter today from the local OCMI.
Thank you.
Mark, how did you survive the hurricane? We would have heard if something was bad, so everything must be fine.
Well, actually, the hurricane hit Louisiana. While we all thought things were well here, we learned that all of our major contractors are from Louisiana, and 4 major contractors. And of course, we had a period of delay for about a week, which we didn't hear from everyone. But, because they obviously, it's not just about their work locations. They all live there, their families. And but fortunately, I understand it came ashore as a Cat 2 hurricane, and everyone is back to normal. A lot of cleanup in the yard, as I've been told by the contractors.
Yeah, I remember going down to the island home into Pascagoula after Katrina, and it was a real mess. And they had Navy ships that were up in the marsh, and they didn't know how to get them off. I mean, the whole thing was a nightmare. But the island home survived fine. It actually was after Katrina. Thank you, Mark. Does anybody have any further questions? Yeah, go ahead.
No, Mark, some questions looking forward in the future on the Monomoy. Seeing that the stability test is estimated to happen in May of 2025 and the sea trials June of 2025, and knowing where we are in terms of service and to the islands during the summer months, given that schedule, if all went well, when would we be looking for actual delivery of the Monomoy up to the Steamship Authority? And has there been any planning, I'll ask the other Mark as well, about having delivery crews bring them up, since we usually can't spare any crew during the summer?
Well, to answer that, it's a very good question. First of all, every stability test is specific to the vessel. Just because we've done the Barnstable first, has no effect on the Monomoy or the Aquina. So there's a process that will go through. It'll be the same process. Hopefully it will be, right now Coast Guard is very busy and they've said that, but however, I think it's important, and with the timing of this, is we get that boat up there as soon as the date allows us, because we know when we go mid-June into our summer season, we're challenged. And then Mark Higgins may have something to say on that as well.
Yeah, we would be looking at using what crews we could set aside, as well as looking at using delivery crews to get the vessels up here. And, you know, we will definitely want to get the boat out of Mobile as soon as possible when it's completed, because we will be in hurricane season down there. So that's another factor to take into consideration with that. So we will use crews to help supplement what we have here, so that we can get the boats up here.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mark.
Moving on, website update.
All right, so we want to provide an update on the website, and so I think Stephen Coleman is here, and we also have he's accompanied by Robert Dillon, who can fill us in on what's going on.
Morning, gentlemen. First, I'd like to introduce Robert Dillard. He's the Managing Director of IntraSystems and the lead in what we've determined to be the final phase of this project, which is the program governance phase.
Do you have to go through the microphone, or can we turn that up a little bit?
Can you hear me?
My hearing aid.
Fine too.
So as you all know, on July 8th, we started the final program governance phase of this project. What that entailed is bringing a diverse group of resources together in a coordinated manner on a daily basis to finalize the website project. Part of what was done is testing, bringing developers in the same room with the testers. But more importantly, getting the infrastructure to the point where we knew it was ready for load testing and security. So if you wouldn't mind, Sean. So starting 2 weeks ago, we got into the load testing phase of the project, where we would make a determination as to whether or not the website itself could sustain the volume of activity necessary to go through a general opening. And after a 2-week period of time, it's been determined that it will not sustain the level of activity necessary. And as a result, the executive level, senior management of the organization has decided to put it, to pause the project. I'm certainly grateful for the fact that the Port Council provided 3 months of a timeline in order to bring Robert and his staff in to get to the point where we are today. I'm certainly grateful to the Port Council for their patience. And I would like to add that going into this decision, It's not that we couldn't ever finish this project, because anything it can be done with enough time and resources, but we have competing priorities. The competing priorities are the reservation system with a compressed timeline. We certainly don't want to continue endlessly with the reservation system. We'd like to bring it into a near year period of time to get it online. We also recognize that with the general opening months away, starting in October, we have to focus great attention on making certain that the current website is performing to the degree in which it must to accommodate the needs of the user community during the general opening. That's it. If you have any questions, I certainly will take any questions you want. Robert Dillard is here to provide any insight you may also need. Robert, would you like to say anything in advance?
No, sir.
Okay.
Jim? You have a question?
Thank you for that, Stephen. So if I hear correctly, we're shelving the website for now, and we're going to put our emphasis on the reservation system, get the reservation system, find one, do what we need to do in terms of the things that we've talked about with Tom Innes and yourself before, in terms of scoping it out, finding stuff that's available, doing whatever changes we have to do with our business rules, and moving as fast as we can on the reservation system. And then when that is sufficiently underpinning what we have, we will then move into the website. Is that what I'm hearing?
Very much so. Except for the fact that the investment that we've made in the website thus far is not lost.
Right, we're shelving.
It's being paused, but must also be advanced forward for the introduction of the new reservation system, which will essentially be bolted onto it. So it's paused for now. It will be brought to life with the new reservation system.
So we now have the horse before the cart.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Steve, as Mr. Malcolm normally says, but didn't at this meeting, unfortunately, you inherited this problem and weren't here at the beginning of the project. So I understand that. I first of all, I don't find this surprising, but it's disappointing. Something that I thought was needed to happen for quite a while. But I do believe that this is the only responsible action for us to take in moving forward. We have one chance to get the website right. And to do that, we need to clean up our technology debt with that reservation system. So the first is, I'd ask, what resources do you need from the board to get the reservation system RFP out and then implemented as soon as possible? And then moving forward, I think we need to look hard as an authority of bringing in some professional project management to assist us with these type of projects, because project management is different than being a technical specialist or technical advisor. And I don't think we necessarily have that full skill set on board. So I think we really need to look at that. And the last is a request that when we move forward with the RFP, the development of that RFP for the reservation system, I'd like to be briefed on it in advance of its approval by the board or going to the street. And I would also volunteer some of our port council members to do that as well, that we're have more input before it's up to the board for consideration. And I'd volunteer Mr. Cahill from Tisbury to.
I second that volunteer.
Fortunately, this decision frees up sufficient resources internal to the organization today to now focus as much time as necessary to address the needs of Gibbs's RFP. So we don't need anything from you yet. In terms of what's needed going forward for this project, I'm in complete agreement. Project management is where the website went awry, and we cannot afford a second major project to go off the rails. I believe, and I understand there's a bidding process, state contracts. So I don't want to speak out of turn, but I believe if we go in the direction that we possibly may, between internal resources, business acumen built up over many years, the project management skills of Gibbs, additionally, the project management skills and the technical skills of the intrasystem team, I think will be well suited to sufficiently deliver this on time. And as far as giving you a preview, of course.
As somebody that knows nothing about, IT and cell phones and all the rest of the stuff here, and I'm reading the minutes and things like that, and you mentioned governance. Is that, do I take that, it seems to me that's the number of different variations that we have on a trip. They can go standby, they can do this, they can do that. I mean, I'm trying to figure how in the world you put together a website that carries everything that I read when I get, the big report and things, how complicated it is. I mean, is that what we're talking about, is the complication of gathering all those things under one roof here?
Not necessarily, but it's certainly par for the course. I'm going to hand this off to Robert because he's traveled a great distance to be here, and I do want him to address any of the needs of the board, most specifically to give you an overview of what governance may be.
Thank you.
So as it relates to this project, there are a couple of different elements of governance. You have the business governance, which in large part is what Tom and the Gibbs team are addressing. As you look at how Steamship's operating model, processes, specifically pricing structures, et cetera, need to be aligned to support the needs of your passengers and also to support the ability to consume and implement a new platform by focusing on configuration of the platform as it exists in line with the platform that aligns to the RFP as published versus heavily customizing a platform, which is what you want to avoid. That requires a level of governance that starts primarily from a business perspective that Tom has been heavily focused on. There's a second level of governance that covers technology and how we address, how we define and understand the changes that we need to make from a technology standpoint, whether it has to do with software or infrastructure, security, et cetera, why we're making those changes, how those map back to business and your end user requirements, your passengers, and ensuring that we're connecting from business all the way down to technology. And so there's business governance and technology governance that meet in the middle, which is why what Stephen is recommending is the partnership of two, which would be Gibbs and Tom and myself with IntraSystems working jointly to provide governance both from a business and a technology standpoint. And in that, aligning to the initiative that Stephen and the team have been focused on from an enterprise governance and change management standpoint, and specifically ensuring that those controls are implemented from a technology perspective and within the technology org to ensure that we have proper change controls around the platform as it's moving forward, to ensure that we are moving intentionally in a direction have knowledge of the direction that we're moving and why we're moving. And also that we're gathering the historical knowledge as to what we did, why we did it, so that should people change over time, you don't have institutional knowledge walking out with those people from either a business or a technology perspective.
That's interesting. And what I thought, it's way over my head. So, but thank you for explaining that. You know, and I listened to, you know, some comments and things, so developing a website is easy. I don't think developing any website with the Steamship Authority and the number of different programs that you have, I don't even know how the ticket tellers can, you know, differentiate. They should be taking this, they should be taking that. I mean, it's a very confusing thing. You go to an airline, you buy a ticket and you get on, you don't worry about it. But you buy one of these, you may have standing room only, you may have to wait, you got, you know, so and putting all that into, you know, one little box somewhere, that God bless you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Okay, anything else I can confuse you on? Okay, thank you very much, because
Thank you.
appreciate it. How's her?
We have the update on the IT review.
Yeah.
Yes. Hello, everyone. So to follow on, I know we've already been talking about the reservation system, but just to give a quick update, we are on track in terms of getting the RFP out and now looking at with the postponement of the website. For our team, this is a really exciting opportunity because it allows for now a focus on the reservation system planning and a focus on review of the RFP internally so that we can hit the timeline that we've shared, which is getting the RFP out this fall, and then allowing the bidders to go through their response period. So keep in mind, they need a couple months to read what we're going to put to them, think through it, ask questions, come up with their response, and then go through the evaluation, selection, and contracting process. And just keep in mind, the contracting process for this kind of contract, we want to get it right. We want to make sure that everything is captured, and we want to make sure that everybody's happy with it. And usually that takes a little bit of time. So just trying to set expectations that we're going to do everything we can to move through this process very quickly. But there are some elements to it that do take some time to make sure that everything's really been thought through. And I would just add to that we've been in terms of the timeline, we've been meeting with the team, and we've already started some of the change management discussions and really starting to identify what are the different leads internally, who needs to be part of this project, and then how to think about backfilling some of those roles, so that, really being able to take advantage of this project to develop both as an organization and develop individuals within the organization, because, we'll be really reconsidering, rethinking a lot of not just the technology, but really operationally, how things work. Because if you remember, everything touches the reservation system. And if you also remember, we're not just talking about the reservation system, we're talking about all the systems that you see every day being used at the terminal. All of those hardware points, every part of the ticketing process, every part of the website, that's all leads back to the reservation system. And that is all going to be part of this project. So it will take a lot to really be thinking through what does this mean operationally. And again, being able to have the organization focused on this is really going to be, from our perspective, is really great news.
Go ahead, Jim.
Thanks for that, Tom. I agree with you. This is transformational for the authority, and it will touch pretty much everywhere. One of the concerns that we've discussed at this board over time with the website was the issue of the RFP and project management.
Mhm.
Who is going to be responsible for the RFP? And who is going to be responsible for the project management of this whole process?
So our plan is to continue to shepherd the RFP as much as possible through this and work with the folks also within the Steamship Authority who need to be the contractual lead as part of this effort.
If I may, so included in the RFP is an extensive list of functional requirements that we're looking for, and whether those are things that we're going to be able to get out of the box, or whether it's customizable. And then there's going to be discussion. There needs to be discussion as to how much, if it's a software as a service, you don't want to stray too far from, what the standard package is. And Stephen and Tom and Robert may have comments on that as well. But so we're gonna have to go through that, and the selection process with the RFP. And yes, we can, as the RFP is developed, we can send it out to the board and port council for any comments that we can incorporate into it before we issue it. The process itself, as Tom mentioned, we put it out. There'll be a period there that we can receive questions back from the vendors. Then we'll end up putting out addendums, which are the answers to those questions and things like that. As for the project management of this, I think we're going to have those discussions, and in terms of what's the mix that we need in terms of being able to have it for the business governance versus the technology governance, and how we put together a team to be able to address those. And we'll be coming back at a future board meeting, I would anticipate, with those recommendations.
Thank you. Great.
Thank you.
Great.
Anybody else? Thank you so much. We appreciate it. No,
All right. Thank you much.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay, moving forward. The Woods Hole Terminal Reconstruction Program update.
Okay, so for the Woods Hole Terminal Reconstruction Project, Sean Mulcahy will give a brief update.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. First slide is just a aerial view. You can see the utility building in the middle left. We're well on the production here. This picture shows the forming of the third wall. We've kind of rescheduled the pour, but we're actually pouring tomorrow for this wall section. Should be about 50 yards of concrete. There's a lot of openings, so it's not as high cubic yardage as the rest. Next slide, please. We started drilling last week. This just shows the milling machine setting up for the final 7 wells. This actually kept the site a lot cleaner. Everything stayed in the milling trench. Next slide, please. This is the first well we started drilling last Tuesday. They are on well number 5 out of the 7 last wells we have to do. Next slide, please. This is a picture of the rebar in the third wall pour. Next slide, please. The financials, we have a total of 3 change orders so far. They're kind of minus negative, but we're ahead $3,178.84, just 0.01%. So we're not too far off the original costs. I'm trying to keep everything below budget. We're gonna have a few more change orders. I got a couple credits, I believe, coming. Overall, we're doing pretty well. You guys have any questions? Let me know.
Questions? No? Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Uh, Okay.
And just one other thing to add. So we have issued 249 email updates on the progress of the building to date.
Looks good. Operating schedule edits.
All right, following the approval of the 2025 operating schedules, staff noted that what was presented and approved contains a couple of minor edits, issues that require editing, and we just wanted to correct those for the records. So they include on the Martha's Vineyard route, the January 4th, 2025 through March 25th, 2025. Trip 204 will not operate daily as was originally listed, but operates Monday through Saturday. And the January 4th, 2025 through March 25th, 2025. Trip 224 will not operate on Friday and Saturday was listed, but it should have been Monday through Saturday. That same time period of January 4th to March 25th, the operating times that are listed below the schedule for the MV Aquina have been corrected to reflect times listed within the actual schedule. The times were off on that. Then on the March 26th through May 12th, trip 203 and 204 will not operate daily as listed, but rather Monday through Saturday. During that same time period, the operating times listed below the schedule for the MV Woods Hole are needed to be corrected to reflect the actual times that the vessel is running. On the October 22nd, 2025 through January 4th, 2026, the note below this, the schedule identifies that the MV Woods Hole will not operate on Thanksgiving Day, November 28th, 2025. Thanksgiving is actually November 27th, 2025. And then on that same schedule, the operating times listed below this, the schedule for the MV Woods Hole need to be corrected to reflect the actual times that the vessel is running. On the Nantucket route, May 13th, 2025 through June 17th, 2025, the planned repair dates, instead of it being TBD based on repair schedule, we've updated we had the repair schedule for that, so that's being updated. And then in the October 22nd, 2025 to January 4th, 2026, the note below the schedule identifies that trips 301, 302, 305, 306, 309, and 310 will not operate on Thanksgiving Day, November 28th, 2024. This needs to be changed as Thanksgiving is November 27th, 2025. And Christmas Day was listed as December 25th, 2024. That needed to be updated to be December 25th, 2025. So these are just edits. We just want to bring them to everyone's attention, and so that way when the schedules are posted on the website, those times will be reflected.
Okay. Yes, sir. Question?
Bob, the shippers on the Vineyard received, I think it was either late last week or even more recently, a request to identify the trips that they're looking to book on a provisional basis. I suspect it's probably hard enough for people to anticipate what they're going to do next year, but I recognize that we have to tell them to book. But why are we asking them to book on a provisional basis if we know what our schedule is?
I was gonna say it was provisional based on these edits.
No, if I may, when we approved the winter schedule, we pointed out that there's some construction that we need to be doing on the pier over in Vineyard Haven. And depending upon the schedule for those repairs, the schedule we were proposing is to have the freight boat berth on the mainland, not on the Vineyard. And should those repairs, once we determine what that schedule is, we requested the ability to be able to reinstate that, berthing the freight boat on the island.
Okay, I've been in the past somewhat critical of our communication. I hope judiciously critical or helpfully critical. But I do think that for our clients and customers, it would be good to give them as much information so they understand why it is we're talking provisional or tentative, rather than tell us what you think you're going to do next year and we'll do the best we can, but this may not be the schedule.
Right. They've been explaining to the shippers too, that we want you to book what the schedule says, but knowing that during a certain period of time, that 5:30 boat will not be running. So what we'll do is we'll give them a wait list and put them on that. So when the trips are available, because the project is going to go from X date to Y date, they'll automatically get it when we open up the wait list for those trips.
This is just, yeah, I appreciate it, Allison. This is just one of those things where over communication helps with people's concerns and minimizes venting.
And we're also working on getting a truckers meeting set up for next month as well. So
Thank you.
truckers meeting. So.
Did you have a question, Bob?
No.
Okay, moving on. Mark. You're on.
Thank you. Morning, afternoon, everyone. Sorry. Got to catch myself. All right, so we have the business summary for the month of July. And we'll see that most of the traffic categories will be down this month as compared to last month, because the way the calendar fell, this year we have 8 weekend days versus last year we had 10. So starting off the bat on the Vineyard route, we're down about 9,300 passengers at 2.8%. On the Nantucket route, we're down 3,800 passengers. In both routes combined, we're down about 13,000 passengers. Last month, we were up about 15,000, so it's a reversal. So year to date, we're basically flat at, that's fine, 0.4% or just under 5,700 passengers. So we have passenger vehicles carried, and again, these are all one-way statistics. The Vineyard route was down 4.8% or just over 2,900 vehicles. And that's predominantly because of the standard fare automobiles. We will see that as an impact on the budget that's being presented next year as well, with the decrease in the amount of standard fare budget for next month's meeting, sorry. So year to date, the standard fare vehicles on the Nantucket route are down just over 10,000 vehicles, with the pickup trucks down almost 2,600 vehicles. Nantucket for the month of July was down 2,300 vehicles, so 21%. That also is impacted by the previously approved schedule change, where the Sankaty was running in place of the Woods Hole. So putting this all together, we're down 7.3% at just over 5,200 vehicles for the month. Freight trucks with more weekdays, that would help for the increase in the ridership for the month of July. For the freight vehicles, will generally travel Monday through Friday. Both routes combined were up 7.6% or just under 700 vehicles, and it was pretty evenly distributed percentage-wise between the two routes. Year to date, we're up 1.8% or just over 1,000 freight vehicles. And again, this is one-way travel. Cars parked reflective of the passengers. We were down 6.4% for the month of July for both routes combined. Again, quantity pretty evenly split, but the Nantucket route was down 16.6%. Year to date, we're up 3.2% at just over 2,900 cars parked, with the Vineyard route being up 5.2% and the Nantucket route being down 5.7%. Trip summary report. So for the month of July, we had 17 trips canceled for mechanical, none for weather, 8 for traffic, and 210 for crewing. Of that 210, 200 of those trips are because of this, schedule change that was previously approved. So there were 10 unscheduled trips canceled in the month for crewing issues. So you can see year to date, we have 110 trips canceled for mechanical, 322 for weather, and 138 for traffic. And you can see the comparison from this year compared to last year as far as the percentages go. Financial snapshot for the month of July. We had revenue of $19.4 million, which was below budget by $734,000. Other income was down by $217,000, which brought our total revenue decreased by $951,000. Last month, we were up $712,000, so pretty close to even. Looking at expenses, the operating expenses were down 11.4 million, excuse me, were 11.4 million, or down 168,000. Total expenses year to date are down 2.2 million, at 78.2 million. Putting this all together for the month, we had a net operating income of 8,473,000, which was lower than budget by 729,000. Year to date, we're at 3.3 million, which is ahead of budget by 1.7 million. Also, year to date, we do have capital grants related to the boat project Mark Munson talked earlier of $4.8 million. Operating revenues, again, they're down 734 for the month, and most of that, as you can see, in the automobile revenue. Year to date, we're down 1.1 million, and again, it's the automobile revenue, which is direct correlation of the standard fares being down. Operating expenses for the month, we're down 168,000. Year to date, we're down 1,896,000. Fuel for the month was came in at $2.93 versus $3.26. Year to date, our fuel is down 982,000 in budget with the hedges that we had in place plus the lower prices. We are fully hedged for next year's operating budget, where for the budget, we're going to see fuel basically flat for next year's budget, which will help. Passengers carried for the month of August, we're down 2.7%, or 8,000 passengers, which brings us year to date down 2,423 passengers, or 0.1% for both routes combined. Vehicles carried for the month of August, the Vineyard route was down 0.5%, or 215 vehicles, and that includes freight. Nantucket was down 11.8%, or 1,200 vehicles, and year to date, we're down 14,554 vehicles for both routes combined, or 3.3%. And you have the June?
Will.
Okay. And then I have a quick slide just to show how the summer wrapped up, June through August. If you'll indulge me for a few seconds.
I don't.
Okay, well, as a quick summary then, for the months of June through August, comparing this year to last year, passengers on the Vineyard route were up 8,477 passengers, or 0.9%. The Nantucket route was down 11,497 passengers, or 5.4%. The fast ferry was up on the Nantucket route, while the conventional ferry was down. Total vehicles carried for the summer on the Vineyard route was down 0.3%, or 503 vehicles. The primary driver there is the standard fare automobiles were down 3,000 vehicles, excuse me, for that 3-month period. And the Nantucket route for that same period was down 9.8%, or 4,000 vehicles. A lot of that can be contributed to the change in the vessels. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Any questions?
All right.
Mark, when you go to sleep at night, instead of counting sheep that's going over the fence, I mean, are you seeing dollar signs and things like that?
I go to sleep without them, but I wake up like 2 or 3 in the morning cringing about something sometimes. So yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to procurement. Yes, please.
Going over the numbers year to date, I think one of the things we have to recognize is that the mechanical breakdowns that the steamship has experienced are well below those of our competition, well below 4.46, which is well below British Columbia ferries, well below the ferries in Washington State. So mechanical breakdowns, I think we've done quite a good job with our preventive maintenance. So I'm comfortable with that. The issues where we have missed trips due to staffing and other issues are, of course, a concern. But I do want to get it out there that we are doing well in terms of our preventive maintenance and repair. So thank you, Mark Adamson, and the rest of the people.
Good. That's a very good point, Jim. Okay.
Okay.
Bob.
So first off, we have a request for authorization to execute change order number CC 0-80A for contract number 19-2022B, which is the motor vessel conversion, freight deck extension, associated machinery modifications, dry docking and overhaul services for the MV Aquina with Alabama Shipyard. So requesting a vote to approve this change order in the amount of $140,000 as part of the main contract, main contract, item number 30A, fuel oil piping. The tanks were converted from fuel tanks to void tanks. As part of that conversion, it was required to have check valves and strainer boxes in 15 void tanks. The strainer boxes and check valves are not included in the original specifications. As a result, additional work and materials was required. A credit will be issued against the main contract for $50,000 as the original specifications called for the removal of the piping system. So we're keeping the piping system in, but there's some valves and check valves that need to be installed. So we're seeking authorization to authorize the general manager to execute change order CC 0-80A under contract number 19-2022B for the MV Aquina for a total cost of $140,000.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, it's moved and second. Is there any discussion? If none, all in favor, roll call, please.
Jeffrey, I.
John's eye.
Randy, I.
Maura, you still with us?
She dropped off.
Okay. Moving forward. That passes, by the way.
Okay. All right, so next, similar requests, but this one is for change order number 79B for contract number 19-2022A, which is for the motor vessel conversion, freight deck extension, associated machinery modifications, dry docking and overhaul services for the MV Barnstable. Again, this is the same contract. It's just for the same change order. It's just for the different vessel. And again, we expect a credit to come back for contract item 30A of $50,000. So we're seeking authorization to authorize the general manager to execute change order CC 0-79B as well as CC 0-126B under contract 19-2022A for the MV Barnstable. In this case, it's $192,000. There's some additional work on this one.
Okay, could I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
It's moved. You got it, Jim? Moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor, roll call.
Jeffrey, I.
John's eye.
Randy, I.
Okay, so voted. Thank you.
All right. So next one, requested a vote of the board to authorize the general manager to execute purchase of miscellaneous engine parts for the MV Eagle, including blowers, cylinder heads, fuel pumps, emissions kits, fuel pumps. Did I say that already? Yes, you did. Jacket water pumps, lube oil pumps, and other miscellaneous parts as per quotation number 6258785 from Marine Systems, Inc. of Chesapeake, Virginia, for a total contract price of $354,911.65, excluding core charges. The Steamship Authority intends to purchase the EMD diesel engine parts suitable for the planned main engine overhauls that will be conducted in 2025 fall repair period for the MV Eagle. The engine parts will be used for the port and starboard main engine overhauls. The total price of $354,911.65 does not include the core charges because we'll return those and hopefully get a credit. Marine Systems, Inc. is the sole source distributor for EMD products for operation in marine vessels. So we're seeking authorization to execute this purchase for the spare engine parts under quotation 6258785 with Marine Systems, Inc. of Chesapeake, Virginia, for a total contract price of $354,911.65. And I'll just point out that this is something that we're accelerating into the 2025 to have those parts on hand. So that way did not, 2024 into 2024. So that way they're not in part of the 2025 budget.
All right. Okay, do I have a motion, please? It's moved. Second,
I'll second.
moved and second, discussion. All in favor, roll call, please.
Jeffrey, I.
John's eye.
Randy, aye.
Okay, moving forward.
All right, next one we have is a request, vote of the board to authorize the general manager to execute, PO 35157 for labor to overhaul the MV Island Home EMD main engines during the January 2025 scheduled maintenance period at the Steamship Authority's Fairhaven Maintenance Facility for Marine Systems, Inc. of Chesapeake, Virginia. This for a total contract price of $204,937.83. As part of the planned maintenance program, we're intending to overhaul the MV Island Home main engines model 12-710-G7B. Marine Systems, Inc. is a EMD sole source for marine maintenance and parts in the U.S. The overhaul will include the spare parts that we have on hand, the power packs, the injectors, valve bridges, heat seat rings, rod bearings, front end gears, water pumps, oil pumps, strainer kits, etc. We're asking this because we're looking at a manning situation in maintenance, and we're going to need to supplement our own crews with the contractor. So we're seeking authorization to execute PO 35157 with Marine Systems, Inc. of Chesapeake, Virginia for $204,937.83.
Could I have a motion, please? Moved.
I'll second.
Second, discussion. All in, excuse me, I'm sorry.
do have a question. Just a question on this, since we're supplementing our own workforce. And I see that in the response that Marine Systems is going to supply their own tools as well as labor. Just who will be managing this project, and will any of our, other than overseeing like a technical advisor or a contract officer representative overseeing the project, want to make sure, are any of our workforce going to be working on any component of this contract maintenance in conjunction with the contractor?
Okay, so the senior chief engineer will be assigned to the vessel, as well as the Fairhaven maintenance supervisor will be there, along with the rest of the maintenance staff. So.
Okay.
But will any of our maintenance staff work on the, I don't want us to necessarily have our maintenance staff, if we're supplementing our maintenance staff, my question's more to, we're not going to have any of our maintenance staff.
They'll have their
wo-
they'll have their technicians on board to do that, not our. We don't have enough technicians right now. We don't have
Okay.
we don't have enough machinists to do that job right now. That's why it's being supplemented like that.
So they're
And
coming
so
on, it's,
They'll do the work, and our port engineer will be aboard. You'll have your senior chief aboard.
so we will oversee the
be
quality
able-
of the work, but we won't be
Yeah.
managing the work, nor will we be supplementing their work.
And we have a good working relationship
Okay.
with those companies, and it's well established, so I'm not, there are no
Okay.
concerns there.
And as part of the proposal that they have, Marine Systems will be test running those engines as well once they're completed.
All right. A motion then, please, Joan?
Second.
Second.
Oh,
All in favor of a roll call?
Jeffrey, I.
Jones, aye.
Randy, aye.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, requesting a vote of the board to authorize the general manager to execute purchases of keel cooler parts from RW Fernstrom and Company under purchase order 335779 for the MV Martha's Vineyard, MV Island Home, MV Nantucket, MV Sankaty, and MV Woods Hole. We intend to purchase 14 keel coolers from Fernstrom under quotation number 25736 for the underwater cooling systems on those vessels for $182,446.05. Fernstrom is the original manufacturer of the keel coolers on these vessels, so they're the sole source on that, without us re-engineering and changing the underwater connection points on the cooling system. So this is again, an item that we're accelerating to get those parts on hand, to make sure that we have a supply on, if needed, hopefully it's not needed, but that we have them on hand.
Okay. Could I have a motion, Rob? I was gonna give you a chance.
Sorry.
Yeah, motion to approve.
Motion to approve, is there a second? Uh,
I'll
Okay,
second. I didn't know if Jim,
excuse me?
I didn't know if somebody seconded it, so.
Yeah,
I will.
he
All right,
seconded it. Yeah, we're getting a little punchy now. Yeah, is there any discussion, please? If not, all in favor, roll call.
Jeffrey, I.
John's eye,
Randy, I.
so moved. One more.
One more. All right, this one is to request, the board to vote to authorize the general manager to execute purchases of 6 keel coolers from Duramax Marine of, Hiram, Ohio for, under purchase order 335780. In this case, it's for the motor vessels, Quina, Barnstable and Monomoy. We intend to purchase 6 keel coolers under this, quotation, 45551 for the underwater cooling systems for these, for those vessels for $112,433. Duramax is the, original manufacturer of the keel coolers that are on those vessels. And there's no other source for those without re-engineering and changing the underwater connection points. So these are supply items that we need to make sure we have on hand. And again, we're looking to accelerate it into 2024. So we're seeking authorization to execute purchases of the 6 keel coolers from the original manufacturer, Duramax Marine of Harriman, Ohio, for purchase order 35780 for $112,433.
Okay. Is there a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Oh, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second? This is getting bad. We're gonna go home. Okay, any discussion, please? If not, roll call vote, please.
Jeffrey, I.
John's eye.
Randy, I.
Okay, so it, huh?
Said it's convenient with sitting in alphabetical order.
Yeah, makes it easy for him. Moving forward, items not reasonably anticipated.
He's
by
skipping
the
over.
chair.
You skipped over old and new.
I can think perhaps of a few, but what would you like? Do you have something?
You skipped over item 6, old and new business.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that's right. Go ahead. Yeah, please.
All right, and John will put up this slide. So back in 2007, upon the arrival of the MV Island home, the Steamship Authority was presented and loaned a model of the new island home crafted by Vineyard resident Donald Widmeyer Sr. The model was placed on display on board the island home in the area next to the purser's office. Approximately 2 years ago, it was noted that the model had incurred some slight damage. The mast and railings had fallen over. And it did not appear to be malicious in nature, but rather perhaps from the vessel movements and vibrations over the years. So the model was removed from the vessel in order that the repairs could be made. And as you will see, the repairs have been completed and the model's been returned to our offices. Unfortunately, Mr. Widmeyer Sr. passed away in 2013, and family members noted the absence of the model on board the vessel while on board the vessel this summer and inquired about the status. Once informed about the reason for the model's removal from the vessel and its planned return to be displayed, the family wishes to make this a permanent gift to the Steamship Authority and not a loan. So the staff would like to publicly acknowledge this donation and suggested a letter from the Port Council and the board to recognize that the donation was in order. And as Mr. Munier mentioned earlier, that the Port Council also recommended a plaque be added to the model, recognizing the donation. So.
Nice touch. I don't need a motion for that. Okay.
So
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve that if you need a motion.
I'm going to. And any discussion? All in favor?
One.
Aye.
Just I mean, I'm all in favor of this. This is a very wonderful gift and we've been displaying it. Just, do we have a gift policy at the Steamship Authority? And if not, I would suggest that perhaps we develop one. I think this is a wonderful gift, but I also think we need to make sure that we have a gift policy moving forward, just so that if we didn't have something so wonderful which to be donated to us, we have a standing policy of how we would turn that down, as well as how we would recognize a gift that we would want.
Right, that's an excellent suggestion, and we do need a gifts policy. If you take gifts and you've got to acknowledge it and approve it, so.
Yeah, at this point, I'm at a loss as to whether we actually have one or not. I'll have to go back and look to see if we don't, if we do, and if we don't, then we'll craft one and
We'll
bring it
make
back to the board.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. So the motion is made and seconded. All in favor?
Randy, I.
Jones, aye.
Jeffrey, I.
Thank you so much. Sorry, folks. And public comment, Dukes County Commissioners, they came all the way from that big island over there to the east or west or west, yeah. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, are we good? First, I want to thank the board for extending the time of this meeting to accommodate us. Don't think that it goes unappreciated. We really would have gotten here earlier had there been a way we could have done it without taking the 5:30 boat to Woods Hole and then driving to Hyannis and getting on that boat to come here. So we really do appreciate your moving this meeting to accommodate us. Thank you. I don't usually speak from prepared statements, and I was prepared to do so today, but now I'm not. Given what has emerged from this executive session, I don't need to read what I wrote. I want to start out by thanking Mr. Davis for your near 4 decades of commitment to this organization. It does not go unnoted or underappreciated. I think that everyone has looked to you as a source of commitment and dedication to an organization. Through thick and thin, you have stuck through a lot of very difficult times, and I thank you for that. I also want to thank you for the clarity and the courage that you are showing today in taking the position of being willing to step aside and let someone else take the reins over to move forward and have this organization be the best that it can possibly be moving forward. So thank you for doing that from the bottom of my heart. And I know a lot of people on Martha's Vineyard are going to be holding you in high admiration for this. I want to also thank the board for working through what must have been a very difficult decision to make in this case. And I think that you've made the right decision in accepting Mr. Davis's resignation. And I want to acknowledge you that I'm sure that this was not a very easy decision for you to make. And I appreciate you for that. And I also want you to know that the reason that we're here is to support our Steamship Authority representative who we appoint. And in doing so, look at the efforts that he is making to not only deal with the issues that face Martha's Vineyard, but the issues that face all of the 4 towns that deal with the Steamship Authority, whether it's issues that we're concerned with information technology, website design, reservation needs, mechanical errors and issues, as Jim pointed out, are not uncommon with any steamship transportation system. So I just want you to know that we are committed to working in a collaborative and unified manner with all the 4 towns. So what any issue affects Nantucket, Hyannis, Woods Hole, whatever, affects Martha's Vineyard as well, and vice versa. So I look forward to having a more collaborative experience with not only the board and the steamship in general, but also the other 4 towns. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name is Curtis Barnes. I've been a patron of the steamship for over 50 years. And I came today to encourage you to increase your rates. We would like to get the Woods Hole back next summer. We would like to get the parking lot over at Lewis Bay open. I encourage all of my guests to park there and walk a block and a half instead of waiting for the Brooks Road bus that may be too full to take them all. So I am really inviting you and encouraging you, raise the rates. I know you need to do it, improve the service, but thank you very much for all that you've been doing for Nantucket. Thank you.
Thank you. Being from Hyannis, I think that's an excellent suggestion. Now.
Hello. Didn't know Curtis was gonna say that, but that's kind of inevitable. I just don't like talking about it. I don't wanna, I didn't expect you to say that, Curtis, but it is inevitable. I want to first thank Bob for his 40 years, 39, 36, 38, whatever it is. I was part of the committee, the hiring committee with George Balco and a few others in 2017, I believe it was. It was quite a experience. I'm a firm believer in institutional knowledge. We can all bicker about our bad experiences that are inevitable. Our zillion text messages and phone calls from people with their bad experiences that happen, but the good stuff happens more. And having people that know the inside, in and out, is really more important now than it ever was. And I will just go back to post Barry Fuller and what we went through to get to Wayne was quite an exercise in futility for those few years. And I don't forget it. And that's when I used to visit the vineyard all the time. I want to thank Christine for coming over here. I'm glad you guys went into executive session so I could talk to them for a half an hour. Unplugged. Excellent conversation. We need to have the collaboration word plugged into the islands, because as our issues differ more, it seems, every year, it's more important that we don't forget that. I haven't been to the vineyard. Well, actually, I did go over there once since the past for lunch, but there's a lot of differences between the islands, and you have to kind of like understand that without talking about it. You know, you just have to know, okay, well, they got their like weird stuff that I don't understand, and Nantucket's got the weird stuff that you don't understand, but it all matters, and it all flushes out in Mark's stuff and Bob's stuff, and it just fixes itself and figures its way. I do want to also reiterate that some of the decisions I'll just say since COVID, since we started the Woods Hole project, really, there's a lot of criticism that's really easy to make. Really easy. But none of it was on purpose. None of it was because somebody didn't know what they were doing or shouldn't be in this job or that position. There has been a lot of change in the last 3 years that it doesn't even have an answer sometimes. It really doesn't. I mean, it's like, wow, another one that doesn't make sense. But in the end, when we get these new boats and we move forward with like I said to you, the Woods Hole class plan, I think we're gonna really be on our way to that next generation of transitioning boats, what island's gonna have what boats, So I'm just really glad that we had the chance to talk, and I'm glad that you guys came over here. Because it's like, nobody goes over here and we don't go over there. You can't even get over there. You know, you saw how hard it was for you. It's not that easy. So I just want to say thanks to everyone, for making this possible here and, having this sort of reset situation, which we need it. So thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you, now.
I would like to say thank you to Nat Lowell, who probably more than anyone else helped me understand the inner workings and the guts of the scheduling and the boats and the crewing of the Steamship Authority over the past 4.5 years. So thank you.
Okay. I'd like to thank you too. It isn't often that you feel like you crossed a bridge. And it's usually we come to meetings, you know, they're on guard, you know, shooting arrows, I mean, comments and things like that, which are not necessary. And you just go home discouraged. But I'll tell you that, you know, your words and tearing up what you had means a lot to us. So thank you very much. And now we're going to go into executive session again, and that means I got to find wherever I'm supposed to read here. Yes, go ahead.
No.
Huh? Oh, other public comment. Shame on me. Are there any other?
If
public
there's
comment?
anybody on the Zoom who wants public comment, you can hit the raise your hand icon. Seeing none. Oh, Leon. Leon, you can go ahead.
I just wanted to
Are you good? You good?
th- thank Bob for all he's done and all of the issues that come up that he had no control over. And I look forward to working with him in the future and in this team.
Thank you. That's all I saw.
Okay. All right, prepare yourself. I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss and review the authority's strategy with respect to the contract negotiations with non-union employees, because a public discussion of these matters may be detrimental effect on our authorities negotiating. What?
No, it's number one. My fault. I gave you the wrong one.
That's our attorney.
Yeah,
He
I
gave me
missed
the wrong one, so you're
getting-
gonna have to hear it again, probably.
This
Very
one,
good.
yeah.
That's the one I'm reading.
Oh, no, where's the other one?
That's the one I'm reading.
Here, I'll read it.
Oh, my God.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss and approve the minutes of the authorities meeting in executive session on August 2024, and to review the authority's strategies with respect to collective bargaining negotiations. Because the public discussion of these matters may have a detrimental effect on the authority's negotiating and bargaining positions. These matters include anticipated and ongoing negotiations with Teamsters Local 59 and MEBA's District Number 1 PCD. The public disclosure of any more information with respect to these matters would compromise the purposes for which the executive session is being called. After the conclusion of the executive session, we will not reconvene in public. And so therefore, we're seeking a motion from one of the members.
Okay, I'd like a motion to go into executive session.
I will make that motion.
I will second that motion.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call.
Jeffrey, I.
Jones, aye.
Falcon, aye.
Randy, aye.
Good. We are moving to executive session. Thank you, everybody, for coming.